Hello and welcome to Video Revealed. I'm Colin Smith. Let's look at tons of graphic updates. Adobe has been very busy creating updates for the graphics, for essential graphics, mogurts, titles, anything you want to call them. And some of them are long awaited. The first one I want to show you is alignment. And if you come from the world of Illustrator, InDesign, Photoshop, Quark Express, PageMaker, alignment is central to design. Being able to have the computer align things for you, because you can't trust your eye. This has always been a problem in the essential graphics, from having no alignment to limited alignment, and now finally great alignment. So let's look at that first. So to make it easy, I'm going to use just simple shapes. I'm in the Essentials workspace, and I'm in the Essential Graphics, and you can see each one of my shapes is here. And they're all different shapes. More importantly, there's different spaces between these, and that's really the new update. So first of all, I'll select all of these, and there are alignment and transform, and you can see there has been an update here to include this little drop-down menu, which we'll get to in a second. But here let's look at distributing these. And this is equally as important as alignment. To distribute something, you can distribute them vertically, or distribute them horizontally, or the spacing. So let's just look at distributing them horizontally. So when I click, they're now equal. So if you drew a line down the middle of each one of these, they're equal. If I take this one and move it over and select it, and now we align it, now it's aligned always based on what is equal. And that's fantastic. We've needed that for a long time. That's really great if you've got a bunch of titles that you want to just simply spread out along the screen evenly and not have to measure them or eyeball them. The next one is even more important, and that's the spacing between them. So you might think that the alignment and the spacing are the same. They're not, because these have different widths. So let's look at distribute space horizontally. And you notice that those moved because the space now is equal. So watch this. I'll take this one and make this significantly wider. The space between them has not changed. So when I select and distribute the space, no matter how many times I click on it, this space has not changed, but the alignment has. So now they're aligned based on the center of each one. Now you can see the spacing is off. It doesn't mean one is wrong and one is right. It's just a design choice. Are you working on the alignment, or are you working on the spacing? That's a new update. Everything I'm showing you here is horizontal, but the same thing occurs vertically. That's great. Let's look at the next alignment update. So I specifically made this out of multiple pieces. So there's all of these different pieces here. And I want them to be aligned to something different. So that's where this drop down comes. Align to video frame was what was there before. So if I click this and center align both of these, that's what would happen. And I don't want this. You basically want to group these together, but there's no group command in the Essential Graphics. But now there's an alignment based on group, and that's what this means. Align to video frame as group. So now, if I drag this over here and align this to the center, align this to the center, it keeps the spacing correct as a group, but now easily aligns this so much better. So if I want it on the left, on the right, on the up, down, middle, center, whatever I want, it now works. Oh my goodness. One thing you have to be careful about is if you're changing the alignment and you already have some keyframes, some position keyframes. In this animation, the skydiver is animated already. He comes flying down and is in position. So if you select those same objects, align as a group, and then align them, The rest don't have a keyframe, but the skydiver has a keyframe already, so you're going to add another keyframe. It looks like it's correct, but you've added a keyframe, so the skydiver's a little bit late getting over there. That's not the way to do it. If you have to move animated objects, then use vector motion, which you can position anywhere, and the animation will stay complete in that aligned object. So it's a different use for that. All right, so the third alignment type is to align based on the selection. So at the bottom here, we've got all those objects. There's 5 skydivers and a rectangle aligned. And in the past, you had to align them in the center, and then you'd have to move them all down, which was a huge pain. Now you can align to the selection, which is all those selected objects. So select, boom, they're aligned. Now these are already aligned, so let me just move them out of alignment, select them again, and align them, just like that. Now, distributing these, as I have shown, we can distribute this way, but that's because it's an error because the rectangle is selected. You have to select just the skydivers. Now we can distribute them horizontally or distribute the spacing. So alignment covered, that's great. Next up is formatting. And formatting used to be a bit of a tough thing because you would have to remember your formatting, or you would have to create styles, and it was just a pain. So let's look at these titles. So I've got flying, soaring, floating, and flip. And I want them all to look like flip. So flip is using Sol Pro, and it also has a background on it. Well, watch this. I can select all of these on the timeline, and now I'm adding that to all of them, so they all have that. And you'll see that wherever something is different for each one of these, like the text is not showing, so if I click in here and type Sol Pro, there it is. So now all of these are the same without having to create a style and save and do all of that. Oh, but the color is off. This one is black. Let me go back and do that. And you can see the fill has this line, and the line will show up anytime there's a difference between all of the things that are selected. The background is showing up as orange because they all have that same background. So I can either click in here or just click and sample a color. So I could sample the black color, oops, or click in here and make this black. Now they're all the same. Yay! Okay, let's look at one other way to look at this. And for this, I've created 3 titles on top of each other. Now, if I wanted 3 of these blocks of text in one title, I would do that in one title. But what I want to show you is changing these 3 titles. Imagine they're in completely different places and you see them. So this one has alignment or justification. So the top one is left justified, the middle one is right justified, and this one is center justified. So with all of these selected, we can now change the justification, or we can leave the justification in this case and then go and choose a completely different font. And the justification stays. Of course, all the colors, all the backgrounds, all of that works perfectly for multiple objects. Next up is strokes. So have a look at this. This is an outer stroke, an inner stroke, and a center stroke. Really important when it comes to designing what happens when the stroke is following the object around. You can see the inner stroke here does not look very good. The center stroke has one look. The outer stroke has this kind of look here. So let me select the outer stroke and we'll scroll down and change this. So the outer stroke is not affecting the actual letters at all. It's not eating away at it, whereas this one does. So as you start to make that stroke, it's going further in and does not look good at all. And this is center, which is what it used to be, which is similar to the outer stroke, but the outer stroke is just so much better when you've got to draw around multiple objects. This is a very typical design technique where the main shape, and this could be an illustration or text, where you have an outline that follows the whole thing. It's as if you offset the actual shape and then filled it with color. It just makes things stand out. So if you wanted to, you could actually keep going on here. So there's that. And then we could add another stroke on top of this and make this larger. And this one, let's make this a bright color. And the second one can be inner, outer, and now you can see it's on the inside of the stroke, even though it's below this stroke here, it's on the inside. So now I've got a tight little shape in here, and if we make this darker, maybe it'll be easier to see. So this tight little stroke in here, and then the other stroke, and we can keep adding any amounts of strokes and designs to make that the way you want it. Now, the last thing I want to show you is this little error that shows up. And this one is set to, this has got a stroke set to outer, and this one is set to outer. So depending on when the art was created, there was definitely some issues in earlier versions. So if I select this and change this to inner, you can see that breaks. Center, it breaks. And outer, it does not break. So I'm showing you this in case you have artwork where you see that odd break in a corner. That's actually a connected point. It doesn't end there, but sometimes it does this odd little break thing. And now you can turn it to outer stroke and it should be able to fix that. So thank you to Adobe for listening to all the designers out there, the editors, the people that are making motion graphics and titles who've been asking for these things. You did it really well. Hey, if you're new to Video Revealed and you found this informative, take a moment and subscribe. You want to support us some more and download a bunch of free titles? You can do that on videorevealed.com/shop. Donate once or monthly, any amount. There's a member section too, lots of wonderful stuff. And thanks to our awesome, incredible donors, people who have been supporting us, some for many, many years. We really do appreciate it. Till next time, I'm Colin Smith, and it's my job to get all excited when Adobe has an update. That's why I wore my colorful shirt for graphic updates, and let you know all the stuff that you can now do with the new features in the Essential Graphics.